Buenos días para todos.
Good morning
Bom dia
to
a
you
todos e
all. It
todas.
is a
Em
pleasure
nome
for us,
da
on
República
behalf of
Oriental
the
do Uruguai
Oriental Republic of
e
Uruguay
da
and its National
das Nações
Emergency
Unidas para a redução
Agency,
de
together with the
desastres de origem
UNDRR,
natural,
to welcome you
estamos
all to
dando
this
as
eighth
boas-vindas a essa edição
edition
da
of the
Plataforma Regional para a Redução de
platform,
Riscos e
a regional
Desastres
platform
nas
for
Américas
disaster
e no Caribe.
risk
Então,
reduction in the
saudamos a
Americas
todas
and
as
the
autoridades
Caribbean.
aqui
We welcome
presentes, em
all
particular a
the
presença do Sr. Secretário da
authorities,
Residência e
particularly
Cidadão e
Mr.
Sr. Ministro
Delgado,
do
the
Turismo,
Secretary for
Sr.
the
Maravilha,
President, also the
e o Sr.
Ministry for
Tenente Coronel Henrique
Agriculture,
Antiga,
other
também Ministro da
authorities, the
Defensa,
Minister of Defense, Minister for
e
Environment, and other national and international authorities. We also welcome to all of you who are joining online, following this transmission, this retransmission live through YouTube. These regional platforms were established as the way to monitor the implementation of the Sendai framework until 2030. These regional platforms are multi-sectoral forum to exchange information among all the stakeholders in the different countries, national governments, participating, then subnational and local governments, NGOs, and community organizations, scientific communities, and academic organizations, the private sector, and the media. This is a key event for our country. Imagine the regional platform number 3 is the 8th edition corresponding to the region of the Americas and the Caribbean, and it is the first one taking back in situ participation after the pandemic. And this really fills us with joy, seeing such a great participation on site, and also welcome bem-vindos in Portuguese and Brazilian. Big hug to all of you following in a hybrid mode. So this is the first one after the pandemic, and this is the first one in the Uruguay. For us, it's a privilege. We feel so proud to be hosting this so important meeting on management of resources for the reduction of risk. So you were all coming from 31 countries in official delegations and visitors from other 26 countries. This will be 3 very intense days of sharing practices, best practices, information, shared issues, and also successful experiences to create synergies and to consolidate partnerships and to reflect around the main challenges that we all face as a region. There will be 36 sessions. 4 will be in plenary, 8 will be a parallel, 1 special session, 8 learning labs, and 15 parallel events, side events. In addition, in the Ignite stage space, there will be around 80 innovative initiatives to be presented in an exhibition. After the pandemic, all the events need to comply with certain requirements in order to be considered safe in all senses. This one in particular, apart from meeting these requirements, due to the theme, must be an example. We must all be an example, give example. For that, we will listen to the safety recommendations of the Enjoy Hotel. Thank you to the doctor for his participation. Let's now open this 8th regional platform, inviting you to see a show with us that clearly is one of the cultural manifestations that is the most representative in our countries of the Plata River, including the Argentinians, our neighbors. Malgotan Trio is a tango trio. He comes from the Maldonado department in Uruguay with Jimena González as a singer, and 2 guitars. In this opportunity, they will be presenting 2 pieces, a tango by Roman Machado, popularized by Carlos Gardel. Gardel will not say where he's from. That's where the Argentinians will really get angry. Oops. And well, it is called Isla de Flores, referring to a specific street in Montevideo. And this group wanted to offer us this homage. They will also sing Malgotan with a variety of colors and hues of the Maldonado department that will be host for all sorts of visitors. Okay, let's listen to them.
Muy buenos días. Isla de Flores, de Román Machado y Arturo Senes.
Isla de Flores by Román Machado, recorded by Carlos Gardel in 1925.
Isla de Flores, tan angostita, tus callecitas, costa del mar, de tus casuchas nacieron todos los más cóperos del arrabal. Y cuántas noches a mis oídos llegaron ruidos del guitarrear, y en las tenidas del conventillo te hicieron taura para tanguear. Calles de mis primeros principios fuiste donde comencé a copar. Calle, por ti me hice milonguero, me embriagué con tu bullicio, y el tango ha sido mi vicio en mi vida de arrabal. Y aunque he sufrido en lenta ausencia las consecuencias de un berretín, por ti he perdido a mi viejecita, mis 20 abriles todo perdí, y los recuerdos aún no han borrado aquel pasado, mi horrible mal. Yo te perdono, no me reprocho, mis callecitas, costa del mar. Calle de mis primeros principios fuiste donde comencé a copar. Calle, por ti me hice milonguero, me embriagué con tu bullicio, y el tango ha sido mi vicio en mi vida de arrabal. Bueno, muchas gracias. Muchas gracias. Muchas gracias. Bueno, estamos presentando algunas joyas de nuestro acervo.
And now we want to share with you some of our traditions, and now this tango given name to our trio with lyrics and music by Master Martinez refers to Maldonado department, Malgotan, for all of you.
Trepando el repecho llegué a Portezuelo, donde el infinito se quiso quedar. Las luces al fondo, la isla en el centro, la bahía mansa no tiene final, cargado de añoranzas, de arena y recuerdos. El que está de paso sabe que se irá. Los que nos quedamos manchando el invierno, fuimos despegando su diversidad. ¿Quién dijo que no tenés corazón? ¿Quién dijo sos pura jeta y bacán? ¿Quién dijo que no guardaste un rincón pa'l canyengue y pa' los locos que da el mar? ¿Quién dijo que no te cabe el amor? Vos que supiste sin tregua adoptar tantos hijos que el azar desterró, tanto bien y tanto mal. El taur, el obrero, el fino empresario, el cajetilla, el reo y el más soñador. Esto es una sopa, un gran entrevero, callecitas pobres, fiestas del amor. Te juro que un día, si me llevas lejos, te venís conmigo, anclado en mi sien. Maldonado es tango, milonga y es pueblo. Es lo que vos pidas, te lo va a ofrecer. ¿Quién dijo que no tenés corazón? ¿Quién dijo sos pura jeta y bacán? ¿Quién dijo que no guardaste un rincón pa'l canyengue y pa' los locos que da el mar? ¿Quién dijo que no te cabe el amor? Vos que supiste sin tregua adoptar tantos hijos que el azar desterró, tanto bien y tanto mal. Maldonado de fiesta, contraste y misterio, silencio y barullo, genio y soledad. Muy bien. Muchísimas gracias. Hasta pronto.
Thank you. Thank you. See you soon.
Con un fuerte aplauso a Malgotán Trío, les agradecemos.
Okay, we will give you a new round of applause. And thank you so much for your heartfelt welcome. And now we will invite the authorities to proceed to the official opening of the 8th platform. So, we invite here the Secretary of the Presidency, Eduardo Delgado, the Minister of Tourism, and the Director of SENAE, or the Emergencies National System, Sergio Rico, sharing with us this official opening. We want to greet particularly Pablo Ruiz Yura, Coordinator of United Nations, and we thank him for his presence, who will take the floor. In the first place is the representative of the Secretary General for Disaster Risk Reduction and head of the United Nations Office for Disaster Risk Reduction, Mami Mitsutori. We thank you for your presence here and we invite you to take the floor.
Señor Álvaro Delgado, Secretario.
Mr. Álvaro Delgado, Secretary of the Presidency of the Uruguay Republic, Mr. Javier García, Minister of Defense, Mr. Tabareviera, Minister of Tourism, Mr. Robert Rivier, Minister for the Environment, and Mr. Enrique Antilla, Intendente of Maldonado. Your Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, the future is possible, imagine and not just accepting. These are words by Eduardo Galeano, a great intellectual from the Uruguay. And we are here today not just to imagine our future, but to together build it, to keep advancing towards better times without with leaving no one behind. This beautiful Punta del Este city is hosting us from different areas in the region and, of course, from all over the world to think about how will we reduce risk and the impact of disasters. How can we ensure our survival, and how can we build a sustainable development that it's equitable for all in the region? We live in times of challenges. Climate change promises to shake the realities. Last reports point to the highly frequency of and severity of extreme events affecting all of us. The pandemic, COVID-19 pandemic, showed the complete interconnection of all systems and how disasters are also interconnected, and the impact, the cascade impact, requires for a sectoral, intersectoral, regional coordination. We are here in one of the most affected areas in the world, with 1 out of 4 disasters happening here. But this is also a time where over 1,000 people have registered to participate in this 8th regional platform for the reduction of risk in the Americas and the Caribbean. We are in a space, in a crucial meeting point with leaders from the public and the private sectors, with activists, members from the civil society, journalists, the youth, the academia, and so many others that are here with us today. Today we open 3 days for conversations and discussion about our future. The highest authorities in the region have committed to advance in the action plan for the region to accelerate the implementation of the Sendai framework, a document that we will examine in depth for its midterm review, which process, a process that will end up in a high-level meeting in New York, convened by the Secretary General of the United Nations. This regional platform, I am convinced, will produce consensed messages in the region for that high-level meeting in New York. The ministerial meeting that will take place during this event, or in the framework of this event, seeks to strengthen the multi-sectoral commitment and multi-stakeholder commitment at both the national and local levels for an inclusive approach for all the society, science and technology. The main approach of this regional platform will also be in the focus. Its use to reduce disaster risk is crucial. We have witnessed its relevance, for instance, when informing decision makers and politicians during the pandemic. Also in the context of climate crisis and other threats affecting the region, being it the basis for the early warning systems. Only 1 out of 3 people in the world is really covered by these early warning systems, and only 90 countries right now have reported the existence of these systems. So there's a lot to do. However, very recently, these systems have proven very important since the Secretary General of the UN has launched a plan for complete coverage by or over the next 5 years. It is a very ambitious plan, but it is feasible. I thank deeply the Uruguayan government and the city of Punta del Este for hosting this regional platform. Likewise, I would like to thank the team in the National System for Emergencies, SINAE, under the command of Mr. Sergio Rico, and the different ministers and stakeholders and partners in the academia and civil society, and the team of United Nations under the leadership of its coordinator, Pablo Ruiz Yebra, for their commitment for jointly and collectively reaching a time when the world will be safer. Over the next 3 days, we wish you the best exchanges, forging robust alliances, using these exchange spaces and set the basis for the future in the region. And it is really a pleasure to see our faces again after the crisis of COVID-19 that has shackled the whole of the region. I also would like to acknowledge and thank the leaders of this beautiful region. This is called the land of the open veins, to come to respond to this call for survival, for sustainable development, resilience, and equitable, and to go back again with Mr. Galeano to the history of humanity. Every destruction event will face sooner or later a creation event, and for that we are here now to create a future for all, and most importantly for the next generations. Thank you.
Le agradecemos a Mami Misutori por esta intervención.
We would like to thank Mami Sutori for her intervention. Now we'll invite for a welcome words for the Minister of Tourism of Uruguay.
Señor Presidencia de Uruguay, señor Intendente Departamental,
Minister of Uruguay, the Intendant of Maldonado, and the authorities of this Congress,
la organización de este importante
hosted by the organization of this important event, Ministers of State, of Defense and Environment, Sub-Secretaries, higher authorities present here, and all of those participants of these events. I would like to welcome you all. We are very pleased of being the host for this 8th platform for disaster risk reduction. This is a key event at times where we are witnesses of how the disasters are multiplied due to climate change, due to the inconvenient actions of human beings. Things that happen every day life, and the media forces us to be those who are responsible of the countries and of decision taking, to be alert and to be working so as to reduce those effects and to try to prevent them. Along those lines, in our area, tourism, it is essential to foresee these kinds of events or situations for the safety of the tourists. The safety of tourists for us today is a key topic. And with the tourism organization, the WTO, we are organizing a tourism observatory, which will have a regional headquarters, and Uruguay is a candidate for Latin America because the safety of tourists is really important for us. It's significant, especially after what we have lived, what we all lived, the pandemic during the last 2 years, which brought about the crisis that we all suffered, and many tourists were not able to return to their countries, and there were lots of crises to endure. Therefore, the organization of this event is key to us because it places Uruguay as the headquarters of congresses, of events, which is kind of very important tourism, a type of tourism which is very important. And Uruguay has lots of tools to develop tourism due to its infrastructure, due to the safety it offers, it provides to tourists. Different kinds of safety, political, public safety. So the strength of Uruguay today makes us candidate for these kinds of congresses. We try to contribute for its development. I think this is a great opportunity, especially when there are topics related to innovation and technology applied to the prevention of these disasters, these risks. And I am sure that your work will be very hard and there will be lots of definition and progress in this matter. I would finally like to say, I would like to tell you that you have to enjoy Uruguay. You are in a wonderful land, the Maldonado land in Punta del Este. So I would like you to invite you to stay some more days, obviously not at our expense, but you can enjoy here because the weather is good. We have a long summer, which is also an inconvenience because of the drought. And it's one of the disasters that we have to foresee and we have to prevent. But you can enjoy the beach, the sun, and these natural spaces within the peninsula and the ocean coast and the La Plata River. And Punta del Este, Maldonado, Uruguay, it's not only coast, sun, and good infrastructure, it also has very good gastronomy, very good wines to test, and you can also visit some wineries, which are excellent. We can also offer you culture, good museums. These will be a complementary framework for the work you're doing here, and then come back. Of course, we will be welcoming you. Thank you.
Muchas gracias, Ministro, por dar la bienvenida.
Thank you, Minister, for your warm welcome and for the support to organize this 8th regional platform. Now we're going to invite the mayor of Maldonado, Engineer Enrique Antilla, so that he can give us a warm welcome. Well, it's just a warm welcome. This is a land of encounter, and we are really proud that in our department, these instances are created in different places. There are many congresses, lots of encounters and meetings from the whole region, and we are very proud of that because that's what allows us to create new opportunities. Maldonado is a friendly department, as we call it in Uruguay. And here, there are most of the businessmen of the SouthCon. They are thinking what to do, and this has led to a great development for our department and for the whole country. Not only from the point of view of infrastructure, but also from the point of view of our community, of our people who is growing on a daily basis with new projects. So enjoy our land of encounter and this friendly land. So this is your home. Feel at home. Thank you for being here.
Muchas gracias.
Thank you,
Y para cerrar este tramo,
Antilla. And in order to close the session, we are going to invite the Superior Director of SINAI, Álvaro Delgado.
Buenos días para todos.
Good morning, everybody. Representative of the Risk Reduction Department of the United Nations, Mayor Enrique Antilla, Minister of Tourism, of Defense, of Environment, Pablo Ruiz Huelva, representative of the United Nations, Resident Coordinator, General Director Sergio Rico, Mr. Secretaries, ambassadors from different countries of the region, and above all, welcome to the delegates of the 31 countries that come here to work on the SAFE platform of the Americas and the Caribbean for disaster risk reduction. The Minister of Tourism welcome you to Uruguay, and Mayor as well. In the name of on behalf of the national government, we would also like to welcome you in this opportunity of work. And it may be an opportunity for you to get to know our country as well. The Minister of Tourism, who is a great seller, was talking about the sun, about a series of wineries, about gastronomy. He presented some other risks, but these are better manageable. It's an honor for us, for the Uruguayan government, for our country. It's an honor that this meeting is being held for the first time of the risk reduction platform. And it's an honor because it's also fostered by it is sponsored by the United Nations, but also because it is good to talk about this topic, to make people aware of this topic, and to make visible what is actually invisible. And because we cannot know whatever we cannot perceive, and we can see the population, climate change are always posing challenges to us, facing new disasters and new risks. There are plenty of people in the world who die due to disasters. I saw a report of the United Nations which estimated that due to disasters, over $300 trillion were invested in the world. Well, this is a number that may be invested in something else. And in some other cases, it has to do with mitigation or with control. And in some other cases, it has to do with prevention. It is more difficult to speak about prevention because we have to look carefully, because what is avoided cannot be measured. It's an intangible asset. But if we work on this, maybe in some aspects, in some risks, in some disasters, we will have less aftermath effects and less events in the future. We thought it was really key, the slogan of today's platform, which is Science and Technology Applied to Disaster. That was a slogan proposed by Uruguay Colonel Sergio Rico. He proposed this slogan for this motto for this meeting because we would like to integrate the society as a whole, and not only those people working on prevention, on risks, on emergencies, but also the academia, science, technology, the private sector, the society as a whole. But above all, we would like to apply some innovative methods, especially mitigation, addressing and preventing risks and disasters. For Uruguay, this is not only an honor, but it's also an opportunity to hold this event in Uruguay, because Uruguay has a low risk perception. It's not a country of big or great climate disasters. Beyond the droughts, we are experiencing the worst drought in the last 40, 50 years, which affects the agricultural sector, and also some issues related with water, which is being well managed. Wildfires may be associated to summer. Last year we had, during the summer, the biggest wildfire in the history of Uruguay. Some floods, some tornado, but that's the risk of Uruguay. No more than that. So in a low risk perception country, it's important to make people aware, to raise awareness so as to create public policies, but to create public awareness. And this is a big opportunity to us. And I would like to say, to talk about a risk that did not only affect Uruguay, it affected the whole world, which is the COVID-19 pandemic. And I would like to tell you this from a different perspective. This administration, under the presidency of Luis Lacalle Pou, assumed in March 2020. 1 week after that, the system of emergency, the SINAE, which is under the responsibility of the President's Secretary, and it's a system I would like to talk to you about, because even though it has to do with interinstitutional coordination for risks, for disasters, it has a decentralized concept, and it interacts a lot with the private sector, not only with the public sector, so as to be efficient in terms of resource management and to be efficient in terms of the coordination of the efforts of the different ministries and agencies, so as to work on the disaster or risk we are actually working on, but they also interact with the private sector. And we've seen how they were involved in the mitigation of risks. In terms of the wildfire, we have forest production, but the pandemic broke all records. I wanted to tell you this from personal experience. 1 week after we took office, we were organizing our office, and the ministry calls me, and we had to decree the agricultural emergency due to the drought that we were suffering. 2 weeks later, 2 weeks after that, after we went to the north of Uruguay, Sergio Rico calls me and told me about the first COVID positive cases in Uruguay. So that afternoon, we declared sanitation emergency, which was lifted not much time ago. Karina will tell me off, but we could speak about the post sanitation emergency. Well, this was a very controlled pandemic, the one we had here in Uruguay. But the pandemic, which is a world disaster, is a pandemic that has to do with the sanitary aspect, and it's the first global pandemic which had horrible consequences in the world. It has political, economic consequences, social consequences. When we see how it affected the economy, the life in the society, the interaction of the countries, the trips, the official missions, the ability to trade, we had to work so as to try to deal with this pandemic and to try to help all those people who were weak during this pandemic. Uruguay had a very special model, a very Uruguayan model, let's say, where the president of the republic was shown every day on TV, where the sanitary aspect was the main issue, but there were also other effects that we had to deal with. And these were made through the national emergency system. This system for the beds, to generate the vaccination centers, and the necessary aid for many people that were vulnerable due to the pandemic. Because even though in Uruguay we didn't have a closure of the economy and there was no lockdown, well, those people were conditioned, and the SINAE has this Uruguayan way of centralizing. We have 19 departments. In some other countries, they are called provinces, and each of them has mayors, and they also have local governments. And the SINAE is made up by the hierarchies of different ministries and public agencies that can help with disasters. But then we have local risk coordinators in each of the departments, which is the same as the National Board of Emergency. And then there are local emergency centers in some cities, which allowed the public agencies to act and to be efficient in terms of the management of resources, but it also coordinated the private sector. We were talking with Mayor Antía. It had vaccination rate, not only because of the quality of the vaccine, but also because the Uruguayan wanted to get vaccinated, and we have one of the highest vaccination levels in the world, thanks to the fact that there were availability of vaccines and there was a system of vaccination that worked well. And we had the collaboration of SINAE, which includes several ministers, and we also had the collaboration of the private sector, facing a risk that was novel, that was uncertain, and we didn't know when it was to end, but it brought about the best thing Uruguayans have, which is social commitment. And we have to value the fact that risk united us for a common goal. So this is an opportunity to place Uruguay in the agenda in this exchange of experiences, of models, of actions, of infrastructure, organizational models for the reduction, mitigation, and prevention of risks. But also, it's a great opportunity
para ser sede de este evento tan
for
necesario.
Uruguay to be a headquarter of this event, which is necessary so as to put on the table what we sometimes cannot see.
De los riesgos potenciales.
And so that we can start speaking about the potential risks that the world and our country has.
Mucho de lo que es difícil hablar, de todo lo
And
que
to talk about what is difficult
la
to
verdad que
talk about. And
trabajo coordinado
it is what we can do to avoid them. And we have to work together. We have to exchange experiences,
buenas y de las malas,
approaches,
por sobre
of the good experiences and the bad ones. But we have to try to coordinate ourselves, not only internally, but also internationally. And so these may have a more
y eficaz de lo que tuvo hasta el momento.
widespread scope. So thank you and welcome to Uruguay.
Le agradecemos al secretario de
We would like to thank the Secretary of Presidency for these
Vamos a dar por
words. Now we're going to end with this first opening session of the 8th platform of the Americas and the Caribbean for disaster risk reduction. We have a special closure
del Ministerio de Turismo.
prepared by our
Personas extranjeras, recordemos que hay
the colleagues from the Ministry of Tourism. We have 700 people that are participating of this summit on site. There are others that are following this meeting online, but there are lots of people who got here in order to participate of this summit, of this platform, and they want to get to know this country.
Esta plataforma continúa.
This platform goes on, so we're going to invite you to, after the ceremony and the break, to go to the plenary session, Science and Technology for the Integrated Management of Disaster Risks and Adaptation to Climate Change.
Y las esperamos a las
We would like to welcome you at 11 o'clock sharp. Sharp, because it's broadcasted in the whole world. Well, thank you very much. Welcome.
What do you know about Uruguay? Uruguay is much more than you imagine. Uruguay is unusual. We have the same passion for football that we have for the environment, which lead us to have one of the lowest pollution rates on the planet. Located between Argentina and Brazil, the Uruguayan latitude, its extensive maritime coastline, and the absence of natural barriers favor Uruguay's having a temperate subtropical climate, without extreme temperatures and a direct route to the main cities of the region by land, river, and aerial. With a great diversity of unique landscapes, Uruguay maintains a perfect balance. Green meadows, horses, extensive beaches, and endless possibilities of natural landscapes a few kilometers apart. Uruguay is free. Uruguay has more than 600 kilometers of coastline. Colonia, Montevideo, Canelones, Maldonado, and Rocha form an extensive strip of beautiful beaches, seaside resorts, fishing ports, and huge spaces where nature is shown in all its splendor, with a varied hotel and gastronomic offer that is highly enjoyable all year round. Numerous rivers, streams, and lagoons form an extensive hydrographic network that shape the landscape. In a planet where water is an increasingly scarce resource, Uruguay is a freshwater paradise. Likewise, this paradise has managed to create the necessary conditions to be a stable and reliable country for investment. Punta del Este and other oceanic seaside resorts are booming in real estate construction with millions multi-billion-dollar ventures. Uruguay has become increasingly attractive for event and conference tourism as it is an excellent place to mix work and pleasure. Uruguay is unique. Uruguay is internationally recognized for the variety of its tourist offerings. Montevideo, capital of the country, combines modernity and tradition. The extensive boulevard of the capital and a variety of green spaces complement the wide range of hotel and gastronomic services, being the perfect space for holding business and cultural events. Punta del Este, the most exclusive seaside resort in the region, is the perfect mix between luxury and nature. Among the treasures that Uruguay keeps, the Cabo Polonio National Park, home to beautiful beaches, Colonia del Sacramento, a historic neighborhood heritage of humanity, and José Ignacio, paradise of the international jet set standout. Uruguay has it all. Paradisiacal beaches on the Atlantic Ocean, protected areas ideal for ecotourism, exclusive seaside resort, and modern cities. We could talk for hours about Uruguay, but our incredible landscapes and the warmth of our people, it's something you have to see with your own eyes.